takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, Rise and Thrivers. Guess what? If you were looking for the show, we were not on at 8 o'clock. We had a huge glitch, and glitch happens. So welcome to Rise and Thrive Together at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for being so patient. Thank you for waiting, but here we are. And you may not even realize that it's 8:15, but also my co-host Raquel is not with me this evening. Raquel is doing great. She's fine. She needed a night off. And guess what? We know that your self-care and health is number one priority to us. So just in case you're new, welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. We are a vibrant community that is committed to educating, empowering, and equipping you to get the results that you want through real talk and taking real actions now. I'm going to get right into it. We have spent so far the past 2 weeks getting into the art of asking so you can live a fuller, rich life. And we've done it from as basic as, let's start with, what do you want to ask for? What matters to you? Just really starting basic like that, taking a moment. And then, okay, you have something that matters to you. You need some support in it, or you have something you want to ask from someone, a service, maybe you need to ask for money, whatever that is, and you're stopped. So we got into that week 2 of what stops us from asking. And we got into all of your reasons into what stops you from asking. And we even started touching base with regards to, hey, what are the boundaries, right? What are the boundaries that you put in from asking? Because if once you start asking, or people know, like me, I put myself way back and I'm a yes to mostly everybody's asks. Where are my boundaries? So that I can kind of take a breath and be able to really flow and have a balance of being able to ask and to receive in the same exact way. Well, I've got to tell you, tonight is that perfect example. I found out last minute Raquel couldn't be on, and I can do this show by myself, but why? It's so much more fun and rich when you have somebody to delve into these conversations. And one of my favorite people on the top 5, someone who I can call and ask for anything and have a conversation around what's wanted, needed, what's happening from personal to professional. That person, which we talked about, who is that person? This is who she is. This is Jessie Fahey. We have done amazing personal growth and development together for many years. I think it's over 15 years through Landmark Education. We met there. We established a friendship. We have been committed accountability partners to one another. She is more than just a friend, literally chosen family. And she is up to incredible things with her nonprofit. And I was blessed and honored to be asked to be on her board of directors, which I served for a couple of years. So who better to bring on to as a guest tonight to just continue this deep delve into the art of asking and the art of asking questions. Welcome, Jessie Fahey.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. What a beautiful endorsement and intro. Thank you. I'm so honored.
Well, we are live, girl. We are officially live because I get to see it studio live, people on, everybody. If you know Jessie, give her a shout out. Hey, Lori. We got Lori already giving a shout out. Hey, Lori, nice to see you. Good, dear friend. One of my first clients when I was a social worker, now a dear friend of mine, and up for Super Mom of the Year. She deserves it. Oh, my goodness. Her story is incredible. She's a single mom, has went through domestic violence and has changed and is changing her life around, her daughter's life around, and the world, and is getting involved in her local community. So love out to her. So yeah, Jessie, here we are. We tried it again. You stayed, could have said no, but you said, hey, I'm here and I'm staying. So
Second go around.
Yep, we're going for it again. We are on episode 155 into the art of asking and to the art of asking questions. And we've, like I said, really have done some basic stuff and some deep stuff. And before anything, we go anywhere, when I just say the art of asking questions, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most useful tools that we have as beings as far as relating and being connected to others. There's so much rhetoric out now about how everyone is going through a loneliness epidemic and everybody is isolated and everybody is not talking and connecting, and that's all very real and very valid. And when we are together, it's like, okay, what is I think one of the most quick, efficient, and useful ways to be automatically related and connected to somebody is to ask questions from a place of genuine curiosity, not from a place of an interview or trying to get somebody to measure up to your standards, but actual genuine curiosity.
Oh, I love that. How many of you guys relate to that, right? There is, listen, I see it all the time, all over social media, around the people. I mean, there is this conversation of loneliness, right? There's difference between lonely and loneliness. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so inside of this loneliness feeling, there is a way to connect quickly by having a conversation with someone. And sometimes it's to ask them to join in, like I did for you last minute, into this conversation. And you can connect right away. You can deeply connect, but there's a difference between genuine, deep, authentic conversations. And then let's be real, guys, the surface. You and I have been together for many, many years. Raquel can attest to this. We're done with surface conversations, right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying somebody didn't meet when you first meet and you're like, hi, how are you? But like in general, we rarely, when I call you or you call me, are like, hey, Regina, how's the weather? Hey, Jesse, how's the weather? Like it might be for half a second, because if you saw something that mattered, like a massive snowstorm and I knew you couldn't get out because I know where you are, or we're in a massive drought and a heat wave or a hurricane, that's because it matters. But
Yeah.
it's not usually like, I think that's the last thing on our list. That's when we know it's time
Yeah.
to go. Like it's time to go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We get into the heart of what matters.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So, we were talking before we realized we weren't on the show about this really cool distinction of an asking a question and a request. So let's get right deep into that.
Mhm.
There's the art of asking a question, and then there is the request part of that. Can you share with the audience what those two differences are, in your opinion?
Yeah. So for me, a question is to gain information, and a request is to actually ask or perhaps propose something that will ask somebody to go beyond what might be reasonable for them or for you, or might be ordinary for them or for you.
I love that. Something that is so asking a question, getting some basic information.
Yeah.
Yes, can you be on the show tonight, right? But then the request of tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and getting into the meat of the potatoes of what we will be discussing. What I might have assumed worked, we
Yep.
had some great conversation, and you kept on asking more and more questions to realize what we thought we were going to talk about together wasn't the mesh for tonight. And of course, you can talk about what we're talking about tonight. So I love that. And
Yep.
Lori, thank you for the shout out. She
Yeah,
says,
that's so great.
yeah, that if you don't ask questions, you will never know.
It's the
Anyone
truth.
will never know. Lori, straight up. I mean, straight up. Because that I think is the most interesting, part of like people, this is different for you and I now, but maybe is there something that you're dealing with right now at this moment that you're like, I really need to ask somebody something, but something's stopping you?
For me,
Yeah.
for Lori. Oh goodness. I think that comes up for me multiple times per day.
Great.
So so
That's real
uh,
talk, people.
So, I'm in the process of fundraising, the final milestone of what needs to be fundraised for a show that I'm producing. I'm a theater producer, for those who don't know, and I've been at this now for 17 years, so that we're now producing our 17th show. And so we have fundraised enough to actually put on this show, pay actors, pay stage managers, rent the space. Like, we have the stuff done, and there's still a final push that has to be done. And through all of our personal and professional development work, I have really been determined and intentional about me not doing all the asking, actually, and really empowering a team, which is my board of directors, to do the asking. So that's another aspect that can make people incredibly powerful, impactful, and moving in life, is not only are you the one asking, but you're actually training and challenging and empowering others to do the asking for whatever it is that you're committed to. And if you have a big team doing that, then you're moving mountains. So I'm now in an interesting crossroads where I looked at a project that my team is taking on about how they want to go about fundraising for the final push, so to speak, for this show. And I actually said to them today, I said, okay, if we're going to accomplish this goal, then these are the actions that need to take place every day. And I won't go into all the details, but I said, if we're going to accomplish this, then these are the actions that have to happen. And, are we committed, or are we committed to doing those actions? And you might fail, and there might be mistakes and all those things, but are we actually going to commit to taking those actions? Because if we're not, then we probably shouldn't get too into the weeds of the actual thing if we're not going to make the asks. Because a huge mistake that, I don't care what kind of entrepreneur you are, it could be for profit, not for profit, artist, foodie, which I believe people who cook are artists 100%.
Yes.
But like if you're creating this magical thing called a delicious dish, you're an artist. But whatever it is you're creating, one of the biggest errors that so many entrepreneurs make, especially because they care about the quality of their product, is they will spend about 70-80% of their energy into quality control or in the actual quality of the product. And so I'm very fortunate in that I took a lot of business consulting classes. I took a lot of training during 2008 when the economy was in trouble, free training, and a lot of personal development. And so I learned that most of your energy in a business actually has to be income generating behavior or income generating asks, which that needs to be where at least 60, probably 70% of your energy and time needs to go. And so I basically said to my board, are you prepared to spend this amount of time making these asks if we're going to create this thing, which is an art project they want to create for the show? And one of them looked and said, I don't know. I don't know if I have the energy or the time for that. So basically my conundrum over here, and I'm glad you asked, is, and thanks for listening to the long-winded answer, is, I need to ask them pretty much point blank, how is it that you plan to fulfill on your fundraising target or goal for the year? Because however you get there is fine with me, but you haven't gotten there and the year is close to over. That's the really harsh kind of laser way of saying it, but they're not even close to getting there and the year is almost over. So there needs to be, there needs to be a way that I actually ask, like, I'm not attached to any campaign or any way you go about taking these actions, but how do you plan to get there? And what support do you need to get there?
That there is so much. There is so much.
That was a lot. I know. I jumped right. That's what we do.
No problems. No problem. This is your time. You're my special guest.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to a couple of things that people said, and we're going to weave it in, right? Because I think how you ended that was great. Because Lori writes in today's life, day and age, I
Yeah.
feel as though people are too weary or do not want to offend someone if they ask a question because it may come out as a request and they may not realize it.
Yeah.
Lori, that is brilliant.
I
Good. One of the things that came out, like as I was listening to you and being on the board, I'm
Yeah.
going way back, but being a board member, and I'm still board member for another nonprofit and in a company that I'm a team leader of, is we kind of like knowing what those rules and regulations are, what our expectations are. And I love what you said at the end because there's sort of like, hey, you're coming on the board. One of the rules and regulations are to fundraise X amount of money by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of things that are happening. And so there's this kind of assumption that, okay, because you have some amazing events. So it's like, oh, I've got to sell tickets. I've got to this. But the more specific we are in the ask of the question, and the more that we know the people and what I like to call the genius is, then it could be easier. Because not everybody is great at fundraising, but there are ways that you can fundraise that fits your own personality.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that as a board member and to run a really strong business, there are your sales team, right? At the end of the day, and your board members who are coming on, one of those requirements is to fundraise. So if that's something, right, that someone's like, I love Jessie and I want to be on her nonprofit, but you're not like good at fundraising, either Jessie's going to listen for to say, I really appreciate that. And I can see you in a different role, right?
Yeah.
You can advocate, you can, share, you can cheerlead, you can champion, like all of that. And then there are other people that are not strong in that area that say yes because they want board members, but then they mess up on that, right? Because at the end of the day, we all need to fulfill. And I love what you said. I don't care what business you're in, nonprofit or not. It does come down to sales. It comes down to sales to generate money so that the amazing, work that you're up to or people that are working for people can get paid, right? Because it's a job and they want to have a house, roof, food over their head, and hopefully go on vacation. So I love that. And it's true, Lori, depending on the way it's said, and it's really, you need to be clear about the questions you ask, it may come out as request. And if people don't know that difference, like right away they may, and that can be like, or they don't realize it, and all of a sudden somebody's not fulfilling on something because they didn't realize it was like really a request. Like, you know what I mean? So I love that, Lori. And Ellen comes into like, hey, guess what? Also, asking can be scary because sometimes in some circumstances can be put in a place of vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Being vulnerable. And what does that mean, Ellen? Right? We were talking about that. For some people, vulnerability is a very scary thing.
Yeah.
So I love these questions and I just love what you said because what I'm hearing is asking questions and going deeper. We talked about this, guys, for the past 2 weeks of like 7 layers deep. I think of like a really delicious, you said food, so now I'm like into food, 7-layer dip. Like that delicious dip. It's like the why, the why, the why, the why. Like just keep on going deeper and deeper. So I love that you brought up your nonprofit, and let's share a little bit about what's happening. Are you still with us, Jessie? Jessie, I think, is a little frozen at the moment. I don't know if she's freezing, if you could hear it or not. But we'll wait for her to come back on. Being vulnerable, Genevieve, welcome to the show, is not my comfort zone, right? And I know Genevieve really well. So Genevieve is definitely somebody who, one-on-one, can I say, Genevieve, one-on-one, you are great vulnerable with me, but not so vulnerable in front of other people. So, and like, let's look at that. Why is that not your comfort zone? What did you make it mean? What are the circumstances that happened in your life? And, if something's important to you, would you be, like, boom, vulnerability could be the thing that has you break over that, stop, right? So break it over and maybe something else better than you can possibly imagine. Jesse, we see you, but we don't see you. Don't know what happened. Jesse's having a hard time coming back on, but thanks to Genevieve for coming on. Lori says an example of that, in my opinion, in my situation was with the DV and my ex. The court systems out here are coming across with being able to ask or make a request. So a little bit, there's a lot behind that, but she's just having, here coming across with being able to ask for something or make a request for something. So Lori's working really hard at asking for things, right, that matter to her, for her life, for her family, and making a strong request, that next level over something even more. Thank you, Lori, for jumping in there. I love that. We're just trying to find out where Jessie is, because she had some great stuff and I really would love her to come on and finish up, with us. But, let's see where that is. But I would love to know from you guys, has anybody from the past, 3 weeks that have gone by had an ask that they beforehand wanted to do, but then didn't, right? But then didn't do it. And now maybe because of, listening to the conversation, listening to what's been going on, something, they went past their comfort zone, like Genevieve was saying, and asked for something else. So let me know, if something has changed for you guys around that area, and drop it in the chat. I'm telling you that for me, things that just being in this conversation and being week after week and taking this, not just week after week on Mondays, but just bringing it into my everyday life, things have been moving a lot more, simply. They've been going easier. We say like that. Jesse's back.
I so apologize. I had a tech
It's
issue.
all good.
So
Tech
sorry
issue.
about that.
Oh, good. Nope. We've done this. Raquel's got black screen. I've had thunderstorms throw us off. We were just asking the group of people if there's anything that they wanted to ask, but they stopped themselves. And now a few weeks later, being on the show, they had a breakthrough in. And I was just saying that one of the things for me is that it's just not a conversation that's right now and then the show's over and we say goodnight and then it's done. Yeah. One of the things in my life is I take this into my life and it gets ingrained into every cell of my body.
Yeah.
Now, you and I both know 70,000 thoughts a day. So how this stays ingrained is by being in community.
Yep.
And being in calls and sharing. So tonight, I will finish by tomorrow morning. I know the top 2 people that I talk to, and I will share about this episode, what came down. If they didn't see it, I will ask them to watch it. I will ask them to say, hey, what did you think? Anything come up for you? Anything you'd like to share with me? It stays in. So it's not like we've got it and it's gone. So, that's one of the biggest things, that's come up. Lori is sharing that being a mother has changed me from being able to know when to ask for something for myself or my daughter, and the difference of making a request for our lives. Woo, Lori, boom, boom.
So much depth there.
I have a major breakthrough with knowing when and who to ask or make a request with. Lori, boom, mic drop. I don't have enough.
That's beautiful.
Yes, we're going to take a moment, deep that in. For everybody who's been following Lori, and if you haven't been following Lori, oh my goodness. And Jessie doesn't even know you, and she's just like, boom. That is what we've been talking about, knowing the difference and knowing the major people to ask for things and who not. Because we tend to ask things from people and then get mad when they say no, because they really are not the right fit for that time. What do you say about that, Jessie?
That's so great. Well, first, I want to say what I was just going to say when I had my glitch, and it's so perfect that I came back now, is I believe mothers are the best. I said today, mothers are the best salespeople, but mothers are the best at making requests, Because think about how many requests, and I'm not a mother, right? But think about how many requests mothers make per day. I mean, you get up and it's like, put on your socks, please. Please, can you go downstairs and eat breakfast? Can you put all your books in your bag? And like, you are always selling this little person who later becomes a much bigger person on concepts and ideas. And once they reach a certain age, and it starts before teenage years, it's like, you got to be really convincing. It's like, why should I have to do this, Mom? I know my mom had to be very convincing with me. I was a no to everything. Oh my God. She had like probably a whole backlog of pitches for me. So I just salute love to all moms. So the question, I'm so sorry. What was the question again?
It was just absolutely beautiful. Honestly, I'm just listening to what you're saying. It's really okay. It's that breakthrough of honoring and knowing. So knowing, right? That's what we're getting. Knowing who to make an ask to, who to make a request to, that difference. Because Genevieve is saying for her, it's easy for her to be the giver. 100% know her, than asking for help.
Oh yeah, that's rampant. I mean, that's rampant amongst women. Let's just like make it straight. Okay. There's so much in which we are geared for to be people of service, to be caretakers, to be ultra compassionate. And so all those things are going to lead us to want to be a yes, to provide support. So here is a key distinguishing factor. And this is something I really had to train myself in, and something I ongoingly have to sort of trick my brain into knowing. And this is something that I want to impart as much as possible. When you are asking people to support you, if anybody has in any way, if anybody has a thing like, oh, that's selfish, or I shouldn't, or, I don't want to ask people for me, you're not asking people for support for you. Any support someone gives you is supporting the bigger ecosystem at large that you are creating. So for me, that is my NGO. For you, it could be your family. If somebody comes, and a family is an ecosystem that is going to go out and make an impact in their own right. So, or it could be the people you teach if you are a teacher. So if somebody comes and helps you fill up your car with gas because you ran out, I don't drive, but whatever, right? Or someone comes and helps you replace a flat tire. I'm using a bunch of car analogies. They're not just helping you. They are helping they are part of a support of an ecosystem at large, because you are supporting an ecosystem at large. Even if it's just you and your family, that is an ecosystem. And so if you have a thing, because I have it, about, oh, I don't want to just ask them me. Is that greedy? Is that selfish? Is it me? Well, yeah, maybe if it was just for you, maybe it would be a little selfish, but it's actually not just for you. And then if you're asking somebody to come on a date with you, they are providing space for you to laugh, flirt, giggle, and have fun and relax. And that is also something, hopefully, and that is also something that is supporting you and your ecosystem, because you as a human being need to giggle, laugh, flirt, and relax. So that is about the selfish stuff.
Yes. So we got that, Genevieve, and everybody else. And by the way, Jesse's speaking because here's the thing. What I've heard as a common thread is welcome to human being.
Mm-hmm.
There is myself, do not go through, and if you missed it earlier before she kind of froze, was that she has the same conversations that we are sitting here saying that you guys are having. There are asks she has not asked, right? There are requests she has not requested. And the only difference is that she gets to know that a couple of ways. One is she's trained highly in bringing stuff to her awareness. And because she's much like me, we talk to people because we're up to being in the ecosystem, being out into the community, being out into the world, making that impact. So there's going to come at least some part in that day where that ask is going to come out, right? Because we like to tell on ourselves, because we like, not like, the bottom line is we're out to make that impact. We're out to make the impact in the world. So I love that. I love that, Jesse, that, I'm going to say it again for everybody. You are important. You are very important. So if it's like that conversation, I'm not asking because I don't deserve and I'm not worthy or all that. Yeah, let's just stop that. Like, stop it. And again, it's not that easy. Feel free. We have enough resources, enough people to help you through that. But I know the people on here, we all go through those moments in maybe a day or so, but we're all worthy and deserving. So then the thing is like, okay, and I know I'm worthy and deserving. And there's that other why. It's not about you, and it is. It's about you, but it's about you and that energy and that ecosystem that impacts. My grandfather, and this is really crazy, this just came up for me inside the conversation, Jess, you just reminded me. My grandfather loved to save pennies. And we were little. He would give us, every time we went to his house, a bag of pennies. And a bag of pennies, right?
Yeah.
I remember my brother, I don't know how old he was, like maybe 15 at the time. And my grandfather goes to give him the bag of pennies. And my brother's like, no, no, grandpa, no. And like, I don't want him anymore. And you could see my grandfather being upset.
He got upset, yeah.
Right. And then, of course I was younger, so I was like, I'll have them.
I want them, yeah.
But my dad said on the way home while we were driving back from Brooklyn, he said, hey, John, you didn't take the pennies. We're going to let the ambulance go back.
New York City. Thanks.
Yeah. He's like, it's not about the pennies because you made it about you and him. But do you know that means something to him? He knows you're a young adult now. He knows you're making money, but it's his way of saying he loves you. So it's bigger than, here's some pennies, grandpa saved them to you. Here's some money, put it in your bank. Yeah. The impact of that.
He wants to be,
his love, to know that it's his love language. It is his way to let my brother know, that he matters. And that was something that stayed with me forever. Yeah. And you just kind of brought that back up to me.
I mean, what I was just going to say, kind of in correlation to that, that's a beautiful story. To all of you out there, think about times in which you knew that someone in your life that you loved, either a family, friend, or, a business partner, whatever, needed help or wanted something and they didn't ask you. And they told you after the fact, but they didn't ask you. And you got mad, right? Not like mad, but you were like, why didn't you just ask me? Why didn't you call me? I was right down the street. Why didn't you call me? Right? That's usually your reaction. Usually when you're not asked. So that's a typical human, that's just a very, very human reaction most of the time. So it's like, don't make people mad by not asking.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And we make this big assumption of people in life. So here's a great example. Jesse and I are involved in a lot of things, right? And so we're going to get her to talk before we end the show about what she's up to. And I want her to share a little bit about really who she is and what she's about to make the impact in the world. So we both do a lot of things. And we both love community, and we know we love support, and we love to make a difference and have people make a difference to us. So there was an event that just happened where I was away in Orlando. I invited her. She had choice. Come to Orlando, go virtually. My old way would be, hey, hi, I'm inviting you. We're having this virtual event, but it wasn't anymore. Now it's, hi, we're having this event, Orlando, virtual. Here's the dates, blah, blah, blah. Because people didn't choose. I remember so many times people were like, you said, hey, I had this thing. Oh, I didn't ask because you're so busy. Like, you made a whole judgment conversation. You made a choice. You made a decision. I'm going to say you decided for me and you killed off all possibility. IDE, pesticide, homicide, genocide, kills off. So you killed off any possibility of me and who I am and loving to be together. Like, just invite me. Like, if it matters, ask me. I'll either say I can make it or I can't make it. And if it's like something that I'm up to, we have something we're going to talk about. And Jesse doesn't even know what I'm going to say in a little bit. That, like, without reconnecting with her and telling her and asking her about a big event that's coming up for, for me and the whole entire company I'm up to in New York City, we wouldn't be at the stage where we're at this moment in time now, because I know she's in New York City. And so many, I love this. This is such a great conversation. We can go on for hours and hours and hours about it. We're only scratching the surface. But Jesse, let's really get into what you're saying. Right now, you shared earlier, you're fundraising, you've made what you've made to get this amazing play off the ground. Let's share with people, about your nonprofit, what it's about, and whatever you want to ask our community.
Yeah, thank you for this and for I always love the opportunity to share my brainchild. So this, my not-for-profit is called Ripple Effect Artists. We are a theater and film and also a radio company. We went to the radio during COVID and we put on productions that address different societal concerns. So all societal conversations, from worker rights, LGBTQIA rights, structural racism, climate change, and this year we're taking on immigration and immigration reform. Next year we are going to be looking at totalitarianism, and we just got the rights for the play 1984, which I'm so excited about. That's next year, 2027. But yeah, I'm stoked, so excited. So yeah, we put on theater that's like really dark and also very funny at times. We've done some dark comedies, but it really pushes the envelope. And then we will have dialogue, like actual conversations with human rights leaders that correlate with the theme of the show. So, for example, when we addressed the topic of those who are unhoused, we had people from the Bowery Mission on our panel, and they are the longest running organization in New York City to address the world of homelessness. So that's been my world and my everything for 17 years. Our website is rippleeffectartists.com. It's on there. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, in my talk, in my TEDx talk, and like what we're talking about today, what I felt just sort of on a like bigger, not bigger, but like a more philosophical, like kind of generic sense, that the arts, in my view, are some of the most powerful ways to communicate or to ask questions about an idea or about a tragedy. It is always the arts that get us out of really, really dismal, trying times. And I won't get political. What I will say is that I'm a huge fan of Heather Cox Richardson. She's an amazing historian and journalist. And she recently was on a podcast and she said that it was when we were in our darkest of times, it's always art and music that gets us out, that lifts us out. And I think she was referring to visual art, but it's all forms of art that will lift us out. If you think about the Harlem Renaissance, we think about, the emergence of jazz in New Orleans when people were still going through slave-like conditions, even though we had come out of 1865, there were still Jim Crow laws, and it was really jazz that liberated people. And so, and we have these beautiful pieces of art that look at a societal issue or a societal topic. And then what typically happens is people just leave. Like, they see a beautiful show, they see some beautiful music, see a beautiful piece of art, painting, and then they leave. And maybe they'll talk about it. Maybe it will cause some interesting cognitive developments in their brain, but they're not charged with action right there in the moment. And then on the flip side, when people go to some sort of a sales seminar and they're told a story, it is actually the most effective way to get people to sign up on the spot for whatever it is you're selling. They're not going to sign up based on a bunch of stats and facts for the most part. They're going to sign up based on like a heart-wrenching story. And what is art? Art is a lot of heart-wrenching stories. So I took those two concepts and put them together and then thought, why don't we tell these really heart-wrenching stories and then ask the audience to make a difference in that area right then and there. And we found through research that 5% of our audience members actually take action right there in the moment at our shows, which might not seem like a really high percentage, but if you think about the arts at large, about 2 million people see Broadway shows every year, and that's just Broadway. So that doesn't include regional tours, shows in out of town spots. So if millions of people are already consuming art, imagine if we had an ask after every single viewing. And if it was only 5% of those people taking action, 5% of 10 million is like a lot of people for my mathmaticians out there. I don't know what that, but that's like a lot of people.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And then those people will take those actions and matriculate out. So I charge everybody, even if they don't have a model that looks like the one that my team and I created, think of ways in which a ripple effect can get created. And that's my soapbox.
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to put up here again. We've got the website. I'm asking everybody who's watching the replay, and to go and at least, here's the most simple ask. Just type in rippleeffectartist.com.
Thank you.
At the moment, read about what this nonprofit is about. Because this is about, first of all, to get the rights to get to some of the plays that she's talking about. It's a huge ask and a request. That's not easy.
Yeah.
And then from there, they get to do what they love and what they're passionate about and what matters to them, which is acting, and acting from a place of not just acting, but really from a place of sharing information, historical information. I'm not a history buff. Like, it wasn't, I kind of skimmed through history, but I love, like you said, music and theater, right? And movies. And now I'm getting into books again. And it's not like, just go see this play. This is great. Yay, we love it. Maybe we're having conversations over here, over there, and you leave the theater and you're like, oh, that was great. Right? But it's like, when you go to see a show, don't you want to be like, oh, I wish I could do something, or how can I do that? Well, they bring in that's there for us, right? They have a specific, cause and a group of people that want in this mission. The next play that's coming when, Jessie? June,
yeah, thank you. So June 11th is our opening of our next show. It's called Building the Wall. So it's only 8 performances, but it's June 11th through June 21st.
Yes. And so then you've got people coming in and we're speaking about that. So you don't even just leave the play and be like, that's amazing. You usually want to talk to the people, and you want to like, oh, I wish I can talk to the actors, and I wish I can talk to somebody about. She brings it right there for you. You get to hang out and do that with it. So here's the other thing about storytelling, right? Because, being in nonprofits, I have my 2 favorite people and I connect them, right? So everybody knows Hal. Hal's been on the show like 6 times as a guest, and he's got his upcoming Impact Tour based on his book that he wrote and his journey of, going through cancer and his own internal struggles that he's now brought to the world today through education reform. And we will not just take the thing of the love of storytelling, but it's the love of music, which our band got back together for, right? And we're coming to New York City. Now, here's the thing. We went to Jessie Fahey because I asked her, I was like, hey, we're coming into New York. So number 1, totally want to see you. Number 2, like, will you come to the show? Yeah. Number 3, like all of these.
Yeah.
But the request was, right? Would you be interested in sponsoring? Would you be interested in being there? And she had some great questions back that it wasn't a match for her at this moment about sponsoring. It wasn't even like a no because she wanted to see the show. She's up to. She's up to big things as well. It just happened to cross in that, didn't work. But guess what, Jessie? Drum roll.
Yeah, what's happening?
Here. So I had said to you that we have people coming in from town, from Toronto, from Lucky Book Publishing Company, from all people from all over, and we were looking for things to do. Jesse's other hat has been takes
Yeah.
tour guides, and she's like moved away from that, but has great, other resources for me for that. And the other thing was like, what better opportunity in an evening when people are coming in as we get ready for our road impact tour than to share and go to theater, incredible theater, not just theater to just hang out and look, but to be in theater about storytelling and about making a difference and having people go from apathy to action. So we are partnering up with you, Jesse Fahey, to have our people have an
Yeah.
opportunity to come and see your show on opening.
Yay! Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, so happy to have you guys. It's fantastic.
So Helen will be reaching out to you, or I'll be reaching out to you again, and we will be collaborating with that. So that goes on the website so that everybody who's coming into town or coming out, or even beside our usual people around, we're going to have an opportunity for them to say, hey, come on in. And what are you looking for that night? Boom, let's go here. So we'll be coming to the show.
I love it.
That's what happens, people. This is when it goes into what matters to you, into real talk, real conversations, asks, requests, and deeper conversations, and partnerships and collaborations happen. Jesse, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you here. Thank you for saying yes to my ask. Thank you for asking the deeper questions so that this show can go that makes comfortable for you, for me, and for everybody. We never take you guys lightly. You could be anywhere else, right? On a Monday night, and you choose to be here. Thank you for people watching. Thank you for the replayers. Please ask your questions, comments, give us your insights. And remember, guys, stay grounded, stay true to yourself. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is a wonderful conversation. Be kind to yourselves, everybody.
Absolutely. Good night.